And now, if you don't know, now you know. The former regime had every chance to make a peaceful and sensible deal. But Tehran was not negotiating. This operation is a clear, decisive mission.
There was no way in the world that this terroristic regime was going to get nuclear weapons, not under Donald Trump's watch.
Welcome to the next generation of warfare, psychological warfare. In modern conflict, the mind is a potent weapon. Discover General Michael T. Flynn's groundbreaking guide, The Citizen's Guide to Fifth Generation Warfare. Unlock tactics, strategies, and the mindset to navigate this cognitive battlefield that we all find ourselves in. Equip yourself against manipulation and emerge unscathed. Unleash your potential. Order now.
How's it going, everybody? Good evening. It is Tuesday night. It is July 21st, 2026. Little insider information. My favorite number is 21. That was my football number that I rocked, I think, from my third year on for all the years that I played. So lucky number 21, Blackjack 21. How's everybody doing? Let me know in the chat, whatever platform you're watching on, 5x5 louds and clear. I was starting to get a little nervous over there, because YouTube was dragging. It showed live, but it just showed you guys in that holding thumbnail. But I believe everything looks good now, at least on my end. So hopefully I'll see those louds and clears and 5x5s over there on YouTube. Yep, the 5x5s are coming in. So it looks like our delay is not even that bad. 5x5s are in on Rumble too. Right on. Illinois Danny says 16 was my number. Very cool. Joe Montana, greatest quarterback to ever play. I don't want to get into that debate tonight. I know some of you guys that think you know about football would say Tom Brady, but all of us that really know about football know that the greatest quarterback to ever play was Joe Montana. How's it going, everybody? Tonight is part 2 of yesterday as Just Alpha, so we'll call this Just Alpha 2.0. We got, I think we can pull this off in time that we even have a little break between now and DEF CON. We will see. So before we do that, let's get into the people that have supported this program, the people that gave me a voice when all the other platforms purged me. Yes, I'm talking about Rumble, and with that, Rumble Wallet. We hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part people miss. Crypto was created so that you could actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today. Everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels just a little bit complicated. That's why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all that complexity and it makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stable coins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay so that you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in a few minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like this guy directly. So do this right now, not later, not tomorrow, right now. Scan that QR code or click the link in the description and download the Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game in just a few minutes. You can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. And I know some of you have been watching like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. And guess what? You haven't done it. So click the link, scan the barcode, and get in on the Rumble Wallet. Folks, of course, I'm also going to get into, you guys have heard me talk about Pet Club. You have heard me talk about Good Brew. You have heard me talk about all these great ones. I want you guys to write down this site, and I'll put it in the banner so you see it scrolling across the bottom of this screen. awspecial.com. awspecial.com. I've had these guys on twice already, and this is part of the regimen that I take. I start my day when I do the two mushrooms, the yellow and the blues in the morning. I don't wash it down with just water. I wash it down with my Unicity. This is they have a patented process of the way they get yerba mate and get it so it's a high concentrate. Folks, when you do this in the morning along with your mushrooms, 1 o'clock is going to come around and you'll be like, dang, I haven't ate. It is going to suppress your appetite, but it's not going to do it in a way that's unhealthy for you. This is going to allow you to do some phenomenal fasting, folks. On top of that, that's the unamate. When you do the balance, this is the one that you're going to do. I like that. Mary Mildred says, Alpha, our guardian. Salute. Thank you for that. And that'll be this Thursday over watching The Guardian, which is actually going to air on Wednesday. And I'll remind you guys of that tonight on DEFCON 2. But again, when you do the balance with your meal, this is what's going to kind of balance out those insulin spikes. Folks, you do this, you're going to shed weight. You're not going to shed muscle. You're going to shed the bad weight. Again, I know you guys have been wanting me to do a show where I do my entire regimen of what I take during the day. But here I just gave you two. You got Pet Club and you got awspecial.com. awspecial.com. And with that, when you drink that stuff, you'll take it with us. And we'll be back. It's showtime.
Science proves that a healthy immune system is the body's first defense against the smallest of ailments to the most catastrophic. Coriolus versicolor is the most sought-after, all-natural supplement for both humans and pets to help boost the immune system. There are over 400 studies worldwide on its effectiveness in humans, including Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and now from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine. Together, we can help reverse this terrible tide now plaguing your loved ones and give them the immune-boosting supplements that they need.
There you have it. And I forgot I have this box. Literally, I put this box right next to my supplements and all the other people that I'm partnered up with. Right here's the one that you want to look for. Here, let me go big screen with myself real quick, just in case. I know you guys are like me. I used to screenshot things when they'd come up on the screen. This is the Unamate. This is the one that I do in the morning. Some people do this one 2 and 3 times a day. I do this in the morning. Then I do the balance. And then depending the way my day is going, and depending if it's a workout day, a cardio day, is when I'll either do a second one. But at a minimum, I'm doing one in the morning, and then again, the balance when I do my lunch. So with that, folks, you saw that intro video, 39 seconds of just pure badassery. And again, you guys put this show, last night's Monday show, you guys put it at number 11 on the leaderboard. Just Alpha conversation, just me and you guys. And I just want to say that was pretty kick-ass, and I just wanted to say thank you guys. So for everybody that left the comment, everybody that shared it, again, I just want to say that I appreciate that. But with that, before we get into where we left off last night, I just want to cover some general news and some things that happened late yesterday and throughout today. So, first of all, you got the White House saying the 47th president of the United States is not a game player. And talk about just a solid video. And again, this, if you watch this, I'll do it manually. It kind of goes from this, poof, blowing shit up, right? Taking out. And then all of a sudden you get Trump. And then boom, almost like a dark to light. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tripping. But Nuke Mag, bottom banner. You rock, brother. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. If I was rich, I'd just be hiring all you guys. Thank you, Nuke. As a matter of fact, I have the AW special in here right there. Booyah. There you go. You're solid, Nuke Mag. You're solid. Care what they say about you. I like you. So with that, we got some things. We'll fly through this part pretty quickly. Jack Sobek puts out, this was a few hours ago. And again, this is going to be breaking, as he would put for a lot of people on social media. This is not going to be breaking information for you guys, because I told you guys this months ago. I would argue even last year, if I remember correctly. But Jack Sobek puts out breaking. X is now investigation. X is now, I think he meant to put investigating. X is now investigating cases of undisclosed foreign influencer campaigns on the platform. And if you remember, one of the things that I told you guys is, for those of you that hang out with me in these virtual town halls, aka X spaces, one of the things that I said is more than half of the people that are in there speaking are not who they say are. And I'm not talking about lying about their appearance. I'm not talking about, putting up fake names. I'm talking about full-blown work for an NGO, contractors, intelligence apparatus, foreign adversaries, foreign nation states. That's what I'm talking about. More than half, folks. And people are starting to find out that how the hell did Alpha know? That's a story for another day. But again, that's what I said. Now, where have you all heard this before? That's right. Months ago, you're welcome. And remember this, when the same accounts that spent months, this part's important. Just remember all these people in all these spaces that were attacking Trump, attacking MAGA, and attacking America first. You're going to see some of these same characters flip the script. They're going to come out and be like, oh, I was wrong. Trump is awesome. Hey, you know what? Maybe there is something to this MAGA thing. Now, granted, there's going to be a few organic ones that they were just full-blown retarded and they've seen the light. Thank you. Welcome back, right, to the correct side. But some of them are going to be doing it. And I would speculate because they're in self-preservation mode, because they were given alternatives. You're going to cooperate with us, or you're going to face the wrath of the American DOJ. So just remember, as you see some of these spaces and you watch some of these podcasts, and all of a sudden you're like, man, you were just shitting all over Trump and MAGA. And now you love it? Just remember who told you. Self-preservation. Enjoy the show, folks. Moving on to that, Bill Malugan puts out breaking new ICE data. Dump reveals the agency. And this was solid. This was so solid because we talked about this yesterday. And I'm telling you, sometimes it's just divine intervention, right? And then we see this post today. So I'm just like, this is great. I want to share this with the audience, put some numbers out there, right? Breaking new ICE data dump reveals the agency has carried out 356,000 plus deportations so far in fiscal year 2026, which began October 1st. That averages out to roughly over 1,200 per day. ICE currently has 65,000 plus people in ICE detention, almost 40,000 of whom 60% have criminal convictions or pending criminal charges. The data also confirms Bodrsar Tom Homan's recent statements that June saw a record-setting number of immigration arrests with over 43,000 arrests, which is higher than January and February when the surge in Minnesota was in effect. July is on pace to potentially break the June record. And then let me click on these for those of you that want to take some screenshots. So you can go and post them on your social medias as well. This is important information. And again, shout out to Bill Malugan for putting that out there. There's some cool shit that happened today, folks. There was some cool stuff. And shout out to Alan and Callie Brat over there on the Rumble chat, folks. They're the moderators taking care of you. And then again, if you're watching over there on YouTube, shout out to Laura Gamez, one of the moderators over there on YouTube. These people allow me to relax and focus on the show and deal with the people that mean to disrupt your learning experience or your entertainment experience, or maybe both. So just, a round of applause, some emoji applause for your moderators that are here. These people are unpaid. They're volunteering their time, and you guys just understand that means a lot. J Law Bronco is going to be my English teacher tonight. Malugan, LOL. Say it how I want, Jay. I say it how I want. And just so you know, no, I'm going to save that for daily. Not going to get into it here. But I was right on ASL, right? I went and did the research. And if you guys tune in to daily tomorrow, me and Go switched. He has a commitment on Thursday, so you guys will catch me on daily tomorrow morning with CanCon. So I'm gonna be tired as hell because DEF CON and then editing. I'll be tired as hell tomorrow morning, folks. But then I got something. But Nick's order comes out, says breaking: New Jersey Governor Mickey Sherrill admits the state accidentally registered over 6,600 foreigners to vote. And some of them voted. Imagine that shit. All those who voted should be in handcuffs, and there's no way there aren't more. I agree. Per Sherrill, the DMV's automatic voter registration, think California, system was registering people even when they hit no on the citizenship question. Imagine that. Stop automatic voter registrations and stop sending unsolicited ballots. Hand over your voter rolls to the DOJ and DHS, and I guarantee there'll be a lot more foreigners. I agree 100%. Folks, who's the election deniers? that needs to be a term. We need something cool that we can tag these people with. Fox News Politics comes out and says exclusive President Trump has directed the Department of War and the intelligence community to check this out. Waive non-disclosure agreements for former government employees and contractors who want to cooperate with the federal UAP investigations. The directive follows years of complaints from lawmakers and whistleblowers that people with firsthand knowledge were too afraid to talk. A new trash of UAP files is expected very soon. How are you not going to say that this president and his administration is the most transparent? They are going to waive non-disclosure agreements. So people don't have excuses. They can't say, well, I would talk, but there's an NDA. Now what? We're gonna see who's who. And then we're not there. Oh yeah, we are here. This is the one that I was excited to share with you guys. Let me get this set up for you guys right here. The White House puts out, this is just a few hours ago, the Trump administration cabinet just hit TikTok. Don't miss a second of the hype. See you there. If you remember all the controversy, I think it was last year or the year before, surrounding TikTok and the United States, and we know that China was making certain content unavailable to their kids because they wanted to make them very pro-China, but they were pushing content that would subvert the culture of American kids. Trump came out and said, hey, this company's going to buy this. In other words, he was just like, he did a Debo. He said, nah, bitch, like that ain't going to happen. You aren't doing that to our country no more. You're not going to subvert our young Americans like that no more. This is how it's going to change. How do we know that those changes are now coming into effect where it's safe? Because we just got the green light, folks. Everybody go and get your asses over to TikTok and let's bring in a wave of MAGA America first, and let's just overwhelm them with election information. Let's overwhelm them with the truth about COVID. Let's overwhelm them and let them know, hey, there's a whole lot of American patriots that don't subscribe to all the bullshit that's been fed to you for the last couple of years. Let us tell you how real America feels. I know you guys may not like it. Some of you may even think I'm too old for this shit. No, you're not. Half of TikTok's like QVC anyways. And I know some of your old asses still like that. So I'm challenging you guys. No, I'm not going to challenge you guys. All right. I'm pleading with you guys. Do something that makes you uncomfortable and go into these other social media platforms that you don't like and start making friends and connecting with people. That's how we win this information war. So with that, let's take a look at what the White House put together for y'all. Were you guys getting some? Tell me you guys were getting some. How's that not fire you up? It should. So check this out. This is why you guys need to get there. This is why I'm going to be a pain in your ass to get there. Because the bad guys are going there. And if we're not there to show these young Americans the truth, then we can't complain when these young Americans have ideologies and attitudes that don't resonate with us because we weren't there. There are people that hate America, hate Trump, hate MAGA, hate America First, hate veterans, hate everything that we stand for. And they're going to go onto TikTok. A lot of them are already there. And they're going to try to get these kids to subscribe to their ideologies. They need opposition. You're the opposition. And with that, just to show you age don't matter, check out this bad one right here. Because guess who else is going over to TikTok? That's right. RFK Jr. Secretary Kennedy on TikTok at SEC Kennedy. Looks like you got them activated eyes. Folks, they're pushing it. I'm sure they want us there. Let's go help them out. So let's keep going. Criminal Division puts out co-founder of the Sinaloa cartel, Ishmael El Mayo Zambada Garcia, sentenced to life in prison and ordered to forfeit $15 billion in drug trafficking profits. Quote, now I'm going to read this to you because the audio on this one was just really poor. I try to improve it for you guys, but it's bad audio. And so JLL Bronx says, like showing on X, 100%, just like that. We have this is actually streaming to two different X channels out there. But let me read this to you guys. Today, narco trafficker El Mayo was sentenced to life in prison, making the end of his reign over the Sinaloa cartel, one of the most violent and deadly drug cartels in history. He will never again inflict carnage, corrupt public officials, or traffic deadly drugs into our communities that ruin Americans and their families, said Attorney Assistant General Duva. El Mayo's conviction is historic and it reflects the Justice Department's commitment to the total elimination of cartels and transnational criminal organizations that threaten American lives. To those who remain, we will find you, we will prosecute you, and you too will face substantial time in prison. Again, for all the people that said, where they arrest at? There's another one. These are the people that you should fear more than the politicians. These people lack souls, the level of evil that they're willing to do. This is my story. Over there on Rumble says, download the TikTok app on your phone or laptop. There you go. I like seeing you guys all fired up. We'll see. We'll do a poll maybe if we have a chance. We have time at the end. See if we got more Rumble people to head over to TikTok, or if we had more YouTube people to go over to TikTok, or more X. We'll see which one of you groups was more into the call to action. We'll see. This post comes out. The United States Trade Representative, thanks to POTUS deal making, Jordan is unlocking market access for the American automakers and purchasing U.S. manufactured aircraft and aircraft engines, further deepening a key economic and strategic partnership in the region. U.S. Jordan deal. Jordan has committed to maintain zero tariffs on U.S. exports. Jordan will take delivery of U.S. manufactured aircraft and aircraft engines over the next 12 months. Jordan has committed to eliminate the 51% special tax on U.S. produced motor vehicles on August 1st, 2026. Jordan closed the used car loophole on June 1st, 2025 by mandating that all motor vehicles entering Jordan comply with U.S. federal motor vehicle safety standards, or UNECE. Jordan eliminated all import licensing requirements for U.S. products on October 1st, 2025. And I posted, defeating the entrenched enemy with opportunity for economic prosperity. This is how you get the people to take back their country. Folks, Trump he's approaching this in a way to avoid, when possible, kinetic warfare, which is what the deep state wants. And Trump's shown that he'll do combat operations when he needs to, but he's also shown that he's been way more effective wielding the economic weapon system. And what he's doing here is he's providing a lot of these countries in areas that have been considered very unstable to start having more prosperity, so that their people are like, I like this. We don't want to ruin this. And so again, like I said yesterday, when you have these terrorist organizations that try to take foot in these territories, it's the locals that are going to push them out and deal with them. So again, this is a solid move. And then as we wrap up the news coming in, Rapid Response 47 says Joint Staff Chairman General Dan Kane, quote, it's imperative that Americans understand that the character of war is changing. Advances in technology are fundamentally and irreversibly changing the way we fight, which necessitates capital to properly arm America's military. I think I have this clip for you guys. Yeah, let's take a listen.
On July 22nd, 1940, General George C. Marshall said, and I quote, for almost 20 years, we had all of the time and almost none of the money. Today, we have all of the money and no time. His words resonate powerfully with me today as we find ourselves in a somewhat similar situation. I've come to you today to request the necessary funds while in the window of opportunity, while time is still on our side. The United States of America faces a global list of military challenges in the Middle East, in Europe, in the Pacific, both nuclear and non-nuclear challenges, and the continued threat of terrorism. We find ourselves living and leading in complex and dynamic times. Our adversaries are aligning in their interests, creating simultaneous challenges across multiple domains. They are sharing intelligence, combat capabilities, and technology that is accelerating the speed of war. It is an imperative that Americans understand that the character of war is changing. Advances in technology are fundamentally and irreversibly changing the way we fight, which necessitates capital to properly arm America's military. Rapid advancements in AI, autonomous systems, deliver critical technological advantages to our national defense and simultaneously introduce unprecedented strategic vulnerabilities and uncertainty across the world, to include right here at home. The low barrier to entry created by affordable, ubiquitous, unmanned systems means our adversaries, rogue actors, state and non-state actors, and violent extremists have access to disruptive and potentially lethal technologies at scale. We've seen this in Ukraine, and we must adopt elements of this fight for our future fights.
So, again, yes, he's talking about technology. Yes, he's talking about funding to support that technology. But still, an important statement to understand here is that the war tactics are changing. And I think we've understood this, when we've had the conversations about fifth generation warfare amongst ourselves, amongst generals that have come on the podcast with us. All that plays into this as well. And would that be considered part of this technology? I think so. I think when you're talking about the different type of training, you're talking about the use of probably artificial intelligence and predictive analytics. I think that comes into it too. So with that, to close out the news, we have this one. Julie Donuts puts out President Trump's post from Truth about Netanyahu. And this was yesterday afternoon. He goes, Benjamin Netanyahu will not be arrested in any way, shape, or form while in the United States of America. He is fighting against the Islamic Republic of Iran, which recently killed 52,000 innocent protesters and has spent the last 47 years killing American soldiers and others. The only ones that should be arrested are the people that led Iran into this unprecedented spiral of death and destruction, something that should have been dealt with years ago by previous presidents, President Donald RFK Trump. Now, of course, you have, Mondami and these people out there acting like they're going to create these international incidents. But here's what I want you guys to consider. There's a few people talking about it, but not very many. And I think that this is an interesting theory that definitely warrants us to at least talk about it. Do you think that the Mandamis, the socialists, the communists, the deep state, the cabal, do you think they really care about arresting Benjamin Netanyahu? They don't, folks. No matter what type of narrative that's been sold to you on alt media or social media, they don't care. However, there are countries out there that don't like President Trump. Will say he's a criminal. Don't like RFK. Don't like Secretary Hegseth. So what happens when these countries want to do this to one of our world leaders or someone like, Ivanka or Jared or Witkoff? This creates a precedent that's like, well, America did it. And I think that this is something to at least think about. Trump knows what he needs to do with Bibi. He's been doing it. You've seen all the narratives that they have tried to weaponize out there, and it's been unsuccessful. Trump has completely controlled the quote unquote game, even though the beginning said he's not a game player, but he is a game maker. We'll say that much. Jalen Bronco says, P.S. Alpha has 20 plus chats on X. Seeing y'all yell at me. Why have you gone back to me? It's crazy in there, folks. Plus people weaponize spam and all that crazy nonsense. But let's get into where we left off last night. So last night, the tail end of it, we are covering the CCP infiltration and influence into our elections. We got into the FCC and how they didn't want to cover this and how Trump's going to come back against them. And we started to see, well, who's getting paid and who's not getting paid and why do people have these positions? So we started to monitor, people's reactions. And y'all know that there was one that I specifically went to monitor in the first 24 to 48 hours following Trump's addressing the nation. And yes, that would be one Thomas Massie. Brittany Ray says, is Massie being paid by the CCP? Just asking questions. And she's referencing a post from 2019. Now, you guys have heard me talk about this post and a few others. This goes way back to when I was having these very early arguments when CanCon, everybody's like, Massey's one of us. He's the most pro-American voter. And I was like, shut up, you're stupid. Here's the thing, folks. When you go back and you research his stance when it comes to things like China, he voted soft on them. And you have to ask why. And now we got a signal of what potentially could be that why. So this is a post from December 3rd, 2019, and Massey puts, I voted no tonight on the Uyghur Act, sanctions against China. For the same reason I voted no in the Hong Kong bill 2 weeks ago. When our government meddles in the internal affairs of foreign countries, it invites those governments to meddle in our affairs. They're already meddling in our affairs. Again, this is during Trump's administration that he had this. Again, this man is not pro-Trump. He's not pro-America, but he's definitely voting no against sanctions for China. That's a very pro-China vote. You can try to spin it however you want, but at the end of the day, that is a very pro-China comment. Let's keep going because we ain't done. J. Law Bronco says, Uyghur. That's what I said. You weren't listening, Jay. America Pulse News puts Thomas Massie exposed for taking bribes from George Soros, Bill Gates, and Barack Obama. Citizen investigation by Nick Shirley uncovers the paper trail of his betrayal of President Trump. This is what a sellout looks like. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Hopefully that helps. This is what a sellout looks like. An independent citizen investigation led by Nick Shirley has uncovered a clear paper trail showing that Congressman Thomas Massie didn't just turn on President Trump. He took bribes to do it. The money is linked directly to George Soros, Bill Gates, and Barack Obama. Massie has already lost his seat in Congress. Now this revelation is going to destroy whatever was left of his political future in Kentucky. He cooked his own goose the second he decided to switch sides for cash. He tried to play the principled conservative card while secretly cashing checks from the very people trying to destroy the America First movement. The receipts don't lie. Massie is the perfect example of what happens when someone puts money and power over their country and their constituents. He is finished. At America Post New. Share this everywhere so every rhino who thinks that they can betray Trump and get away with it sees what happens when the truth comes out. And then right here, quote, so far, we have a paper trail linking Massey to George Soros, Bill Gates, and Barack Obama, said Shirley's IT pro, Joseph Barone. There's no mistaking it, folks. And then, of course, you got the pro-Massey people, fake news. They love to use the community notes and all that stuff, but it is what it is. So then let's go to this one right here. General Flynn, JFK was right when he said splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it to the winds. Maybe it's time to abolish it instead. Here's what I'm going to say. When Trump comes out during the Address the Nation and he says that we know that there's this special unit and we know that there's these assets in the PRC, the CCP, elements of China that are paying American politicians, assets, and influencers to push a certain agenda. Well, do you think that these people just went and called up a Thomas Massey on the phone, called up a Candace Owens on the phone, and said, hey, post this, we're going to give you money? No, they're not. They may be dumb, but they're not that dumb. When Trump comes out and makes that statement, remember, this is a speech that was reviewed by the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, the DOJ, all the intelligence heads looked at this speech, right, to make sure that Trump was dialed in and accurate. So when Trump comes out and makes that statement, what does that tell you? It means that they've already followed the money. They've already seen the way that money has cycled through NGOs, shell companies, whatever the case may be, they've tracked it. And now they're aware. This is the stuff that we're going to see. But again, I'm very interested in seeing what Nick Shirley and his team dug up. But again, we already have this confirmation from President Trump. We're just going to put some of those actions to faces and names of influencers and politicians. Let's keep going. Eric Dougherty puts in, just in, Trump wins in court. Federal court upholds the U.S. Postal Service advancing President Trump's requirement to mandate states send in their voter rolls for citizenship checks if they want their ballots mailed in the midterms or now. The order also requires proper tracking. Keep pushing this executive order. It is still being battled in court, and an activist judge should still step in to block it once the enforcement begins. Secure the elections. And I have this for you guys.
Massive cheating that's gone on. And so we're going to be signing an executive order. It's, I believe it's foolproof. And maybe it'll be tested, maybe it won't. I think it's very obvious what's said. And I'll ask Will Scharf to start off, attorney, a great talent, a very brilliant young man. And if you could discuss it, and then I'm going to ask Howard Lutnick to say a few words, and then I'm going to sign it, and we'll take a couple of questions. Okay, thank you.
Mr. President, as you said, you have in front of you an executive order that deals with a number of issues relating to election integrity. As you've consistently identified, two of the biggest problems we have with election integrity in this country are, one, inaccurate voter rolls that allow ineligible people to vote in various federal and state elections all over the country. And then secondarily, you've consistently identified that vote by mail in this country has become rife with fraud. People returning ballots who aren't eligible to return ballots being sent to people who aren't confirmed to be eligible voters. So what this executive order is going to do is, one, we're going to take federal data. We're going to ensure that each state's election officials are provided with a comprehensive view of who the eligible voters in their jurisdiction actually are, allowing them to properly verify that everybody voting in their elections is legally able to vote. And then it orders the Postmaster General, the U.S. Postal Service, to take bold new measures to verify that ballots both being sent to people are being sent to people who are eligible to vote, and then that ballots being returned are being properly returned by eligible voters only. And we believe that combined, the measures in this executive order will help secure elections in the future and ensure that the many abuses of our election system in the past aren't repeated in future elections.
Right.
Again, folks, there is definite pathways to this. Now, I want to remind everybody and shout out CanCon because I give him grief on some of the things he gets wrong, but he's the only person that I know that found this. There is a timeline with regards to the ballots, and we already passed that. So is this something that the Mark Elias's and the attorney groups will try to weaponize against this administration when the post office goes to deploy this? We'll see. Again, Trump has a plan for this. You guys know my position. And shout out Matrix Codebreaker. I saw him in the chat. You guys make sure you go give him a solid follow. He has a very cool Monday show. If you guys weren't able to catch it last night. But again, just remember, folks, everything that's happening, it's happening in the time frame that Trump has created. Not anybody else, but Trump. And he's a mastermind at this. And this is why I always said we were going to enter a choke point, a fatal funnel, so to speak, as we approach the midterms. We're there. This deadline for the Save America Act is the beginning of August. And Trump has been pushing it so hard, again, my assessment, because it's not going to pass. And he knows that. And he needs the public to have an indictment against the government for this to support the moves he's going to make when he declares a national emergency with our election infrastructure. So again, it's going to be party on, folks. So don't be a panicking. Just enjoy watching this president work. With that, go bring it to Eric Dowder. He says, breaking the U.S. House has just passed the Save America Act attached to must-pass national security legislation by 217 to 209 vote. Great. MAGA, Mike, get the job done and is still pushing it into reconciliation too. Now the Senate needs to get tough and secure elections and send it to Trump's desk. You guys know my I'm not going to repeat what I just said. I mean, it holds for this too, but just know that this is the process of where it's going now. And this is important, folks, because it's not just about our community, right? You know, the largest community out there, the largest demographic is the normies. This is to make them aware of, why isn't this passing? Look at all this fraud and China being involved with this. However they see it, it still shows that that a reasonable person, regardless of party affiliation, would be like, this makes sense. And why are these governments pushing against it? Someone said, B28 Alan Kelly is alpha on pilled. I am not. It looked like a cool site, but I was just like, I don't know how to do all these cool buttons. I don't know. Maybe one of you guys wants to do a Zoom call with me and teach me how to use that. We can go and have fun with the audience over there in Pilled. I heard it's good peeps. All right, let's get going. We got to get this done here before we run out of time. Brian Atlas puts out, if you guys have been following what's been going on with the Candace and her Simps debacle, let's catch you up on a little update. It's been a while since we talked about them. So on July the 4th, happy birthday, Merca, offering $50,000 to Candace Owens to debate Andrew Wilson on my podcast. Happy to discuss the terms, bring an additional moderator, etc. And he tags real Candace Owens. Then again, she's silent. So they say, all right, let's up the ante. So Brian Atlas puts out $100,000 to Candace Owens to debate Andrew Wilson on my podcast. Final offer. Do you accept? Remember, these folks were gaslighting all of us for the last 17 months, right? Or 15 months, whatever it's been. Talking about, we can't wait to get sued because Discovery. And then we find out they're trying to fight the lawsuits because they don't want Discovery. Then they say, we'll debate everybody. Now they're getting offered over $100,000 to debate, and they're making up excuses to debate. Again, this is helping. Whether these are Brian Atlas's intentions from the whatever podcast, folks, whether this is the intentions or not, what he's doing is he's surfacing their hypocrisy. He's calling out their bullshit. So again, whether he's one of the guys on our team or not, the results of what he's doing is just chef's kiss. Absolutely, absolutely love it. Let's keep going. Toria Brook reports, in case you missed it, Andrew Wilson, Palo Christcon offered to match Brian Atlas's offer to give real Candace Owens $80,000 to debate Wilson, generating a whopping offer of $160,000 for a single show. If I got any Candace Simps in the audience, please explain to me why she would not take this deal, especially when she was offered to bring on one of her moderators as well. So you can't say it would be biased. Let's keep going. Erica says, the new bombshell from the Candy Cult is Tyler Robinson was in Pankwitch, 3 hours away at a steakhouse, so no way he did it. Magically, the evidence they produced doesn't match the witness testimony. Was it a couple of beers or a soda? Let me know when you get the story straight. Take a listen. It's only a few seconds.
Yes, I was working here. I remembered him coming in, sitting at the bar. He ordered a steak, a couple beers.
Did he sit at the end of the bar?
Close to the end.
Wow. I don't see beers on that receipt. And again, I don't know if I brought this post up for you guys because there was so many of them. Somebody actually went back and grabbed the menus from that time frame and said, "Hey, there's no steak there. That's $27. Their steak prices, I think it was like 21 or 23. So again, interesting, but who knows? Maybe you added some things and you brought that price to 27, but you think you would see those specifics on the receipts. But again, a lot of information to suggest that there is some foolery going on here. Let's get going. Glory B says, to all those defending what Dilly Doesn't is doing, exploiting a business who flat out told them they turned the receipt over to the FBI and they did not believe it was Tyler who was there on. Dilly flat out said he was not given a receipt. To those who sit and analyze every of any proof you bully out of Andrew Covett, Blake Sneff, or Erica Kirk, I expect to see the same expectations put on this proof as you do on the people above. I expect to see the same scrutiny here as you do with anything else. This receipt is a receipt from the establishment, but it was very obvious where he was able to go in and make the necessary changes. Listen to him explaining how they took his order. When do receipts ever have an ordered at? And again, I think I'll play this one for you guys because it's not that very long. I just don't want to get us too much into this, but here, let me bring this one up for you guys.
I would have loved to have gotten a picture of the ticket that he paid. You know, obviously because when you take an order at a restaurant and she's writing on that little notepad, it's got a yellow piece of paper behind the top one she's writing on, and that's a carbon copy receipt for the records of the establishment, right? There's two copies. There's her copy and the establishment's copies. The one that they use to order the food and the one that they use for accounting. And, and then when you ring it up on the cash register and you run it through the credit card machine prints out its own receipt that you have to sign. And I asked him for that. I said, you don't have the ticket? He said, I couldn't go back and get it. Or he's like, it would be too much of a hassle, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, I was like, it doesn't have his name on it anyways. It only had the last four of the credit card number. And I'm like, he had to have signed it. You sign your name on it. You got to sign it anyways, right? When you're at a restaurant, you sign the credit card receipt, right? Even if you use the debit card, you still sign for it. So it still had his name on it.
Remember when I told you guys this ass clown was anti-Trump, anti-MAGA, infiltrated the movement? Y'all got mad? Told you so. But again, let's keep going. Then I'll offer you guys my quick synopsis on this. Erica, California 47 puts out, Cowboy Steakhouse has issued a statement saying, quote, they have no evidence Tyler Robinson was in their restaurant on September 10th. What total bullshit when the employee witness couldn't even corroborate the drinks. And that comes from the first audio thing that we listened to. All you lowlifes like Candace, Diligent, and others should be ashamed. And this comes from the Cowboys Smokehouse. And I believe this is their Facebook account that it was pulled from. Official statement. Based on the information currently available to us, we have no evidence establishing whether Tyler Robinson was at our restaurant around September 10th, 2025. We have responded truthfully to those who have questioned us based on the information available to us at the time. We have fully cooperated and will continue to cooperate with the authorities conducting this investigation because this is an active matter. We cannot and will not comment further. Let's keep going. Love USA puts out, there's a problem with your theory that it was because of, let me correct this. There is a problem with your theory that it was because of anyone but you. The owner was not following you. So again, when this evidence started to surface and Diligent started to be called out in the bullshit story and narrative that he was pushing, he started to say, oh, it's because they're applying pressure and they're bullying the restaurant owner. This is what MAGA does. When the truth is MAGA wasn't out there doing anything to the restaurant owner. And what this particular person, Love USA, is saying is the owner actually follows the other person that Diligent is trying to say was involved in the bullying, the person that went to get clarification, and he's not following Diligent. So again, to support what Love USA is saying, doesn't really make sense that the restaurant would be following the person that was bullying them. We're almost done with this segment, folks, but it's good. Facts, not fuckery, says breaking game over. Roadside steakhouse owner calls diligent denizen deceiving while private messaging with Dog MAGA. Dog MAGA is the other person that Diligent was trying to, again, projection. This is what the crazy left infiltrators always do, right? Time to hold the clowns accountable for lying. And right here, it says in blue, FYI, the phone call Dee, I'm assuming that means diligent denizen, posted has an edit in it. We had it checked out. I do not know if you heard that. And again, that first audio file, there was a pause in there, not an edit that I did. That edit comes from the audio. So who put that in there? Could have been them, could be what they're referencing. I don't know, to be very transparent about that. So then the person responds, no, the shaky video makes no sense. This was indoors and is of a scammer trick to make edits harder to notice. Plus, with the face removed, it makes it even more difficult. We don't know what was dubbed after. This fits a pattern this morning. Dee published the recorded phone call with the owner omitting the portion where he says, to my knowledge, TR, Tyler Robinson, wasn't there. In case you haven't heard this one, right at the 14-second mark, Perkins says he wasn't there. Something definitely odd with these guys. Adam AZ, and then it says audio phone call from Ralph, restaurant owner in Pangawitch, who provided a receipt on September 10th too, and then it has diligent denizen tagged there. And then you see the part here highlighted. I am aware of what a deceiving person he is. He takes what he wants. And again, the reporting saying that this is coming from the restaurant owner. And then the last one for this section, folks. Fox News puts out new surveillance video shows Tyler Robinson at a Utah gas station during the manhunt for Charlie Kirk's murder. The video obtained by Fox News Digital shows Robinson at 7:15 a.m. on September 11th in Cedar City, Utah, paying for gas with a credit card and fueling his car. Now, Alpha, what the hell does this have to do with the smokehouse or diligent? Because I'm going to tell you how real detectives do work. These clowns that try to pretend they know how to do investigations. His diligent comes in and he makes the assertion, him and the other cronies, that it's kind of interesting how the camera is not there where Tyler Robinson would have been sitting at the bar, right? Owner comes out and again clarifies that as why I didn't put the post here. It says, no, that was taken down from a very long time ago. It was actually from the previous owners. But again, they don't provide that because they just wanted to create the facade of there's shadiness that's happening. Two, as a detective, if somebody provided me a lead that this was the case, and let's just say it was a credible lead, and the department or the restaurant didn't have cameras in the, let's just say no cameras in the facility, well, that's okay. Because there's only certain ways to get to that facility, walking or driving, right? Or some type of bicycle or skateboard, which means you're going to come from a certain direction. And I can look at all the neighboring businesses that have external cameras and use the time frame that you provided me to capture this person arriving or this vehicle arriving or whatever force of transportation they had, bringing it there. There's tons of ways to support this. So again, just because the establishment lacks a camera doesn't mean you can't put somebody there. For instance, what Fox News did here, right? Here's footage of Tyler Robinson putting gas at something. So if you want to say that, well, the corrupt DOJ was out there and they're destroying the video of where Tyler Robinson was, then why does this one exist? Again, you don't prove the negative, which is what these gaslighting people try to get people to do all the time, right? Two, we all saw the prelim. If Tyler Robinson had an alibi that shows that he could not have been where they said he was at the at UVU to commit the shooting, the assassination, the murder, that is a prime piece of evidence that his attorneys would have brought forward. And if you're someone that says, well, it's because his attorneys are bought and they're controlled, Tyler Robinson could speak up and be, oh, you're honored. There's an alibi. There's video footage and witnesses that will tell you exactly where I was. I couldn't have been that guy. That didn't happen. So you have these clowns like Diligent and Ian Carroll and Candace Owens and all the other retarded low IQ simps that are out there that want you to prove the negative while they don't acknowledge the sheer fact of lack of information that their people they're supporting could put out there. So again, I just wanted to put that one up just to put a little bow on all the retards. So let's go and shift gears. That's enough of that. Let's get into a little bit of Hunter Biden. Marco Polo says, the laptop proved that you and your associates committed at least 459 crimes. in multiple jurisdictions in vivid detail. We chronicled all that we could find. When you lost the info war, you sued us. You failed. You're a coward who won't confront us, or your 7-year-old daughter. Oof, you got that one. What are they talking about? They're responding to this post by Hunter Biden. Let me get it. Here it is. On July the 18th. Hunter Biden says, nobody said the emails were fake. I said the scandal was. Very important statement here, folks. Hunter Biden's telling you, I'm not saying the emails were fake. I'm just saying the scandal was. Read the post again. Listen to this and tell me if you think this is a confession. What the laptop contained was my life. Addiction, grief, family. Let me click on it so we can read this whole thing. Real. You guys remember the photos that Marco Polo put out there. And you remember who you saw on the backdrop of some of these photos. He's telling you real. His words, not mine. What it never contained was a crime. Argumentative. That part had to be invented by Smirnov, who pleaded guilty to inventing it. The best disinformation is built on real material. That's what makes it work. Putin didn't need to forge my emails. He needed Americans to wave them around and scream bribery. 6 years, every prosecutor, every committee, every email match. The laptop proved nothing. 0 charges from its contents. And I think we know why. The hack of my digital footprint over 20 years was real. The crime was fiction. That's the whole operation. Very interesting Hunter Biden turn of events between him and Marco Polo. Almost like they want us to go back and bring this laptop into conversation. I don't know. Maybe I got to reach out to these guys. This is something tells me there's a there here. But let's keep going because Hunter Biden had something to say about his dad, the old man. Fox News puts, Hunter Biden is making a stunning admission about his father, saying he never wanted his dad to run for a second term as president. The former first son was asked during a recent interview whether he wanted his father to have run for a re-election in the first place. No, Hunter replied. When asked whether he had told then President Biden this, Hunter answered, no, I told him this, that I supported whatever he thought was best as it related to what he wanted to do to serve. Hunter rejected reports that he had egged his dad to stay in the running, replying, literally nothing could be further from the truth, and I think that they know that. There you got the crackhead and the old man. Embarrassing that this was ever a part of our White House. Let's keep going because looking at the time and now it's starting to get crunch time. Jack Smith, folks, we're bringing back Jack Smith. Eagle Ed Martin, pray for this man. Solid worker that's fighting right now. And he's got good people working for him and in his corner. Wait until we get to the bottom of what Jack Smith did in Kosovo as head war crimes tribunal prosecutor. Do you think he abused his power to his own advantage? We shall see. Mike Lee says, this is Jack Smith. He spied on me and several other senators, and then he lied about it. It's quick. Let's take a listen.
Did the toll records that you requested from the senators, did they include the content of the phone calls?
No.
Did the records that you requested, the toll records from the members of Congress, include the content of text messages?
No.
Can you explain for us on the record?
Now, if you guys remember that clip, we played it on one of the shows late last week. Might even been Q After Hours. You now know that we actually have evidence. That's exactly what they did. So at a minimum, we're looking at perjury and conspiracy right here. But let's keep going because we're not done with Jack. Dan Scavino puts out 18 USC 1001. What is he referring to? New York Post, Jack Smith team read messages between Trump officials. Dozens of lawmakers of both parties ran roughshod over the Constitution. And you just heard him saying, no, didn't do that. Perjury and conspiracy right there, folks. Julie Donuts puts out President Trump posts. Bye-bye, Jack. Guilty. And there's Jack Smith. Guilty. Jack Smith spied on me in Congress. This is illegal weaponization. Needs to end. If y'all don't think that there's some major stuff coming down the pipeline, I don't know what else to tell you. Which then brings us to this one. This is a longer clip. I'm going to play it. I was going to pull out edits of it, But every time I did it, I just know it just needs to be played. It's about 8 minutes. We're going to play the whole thing. And again, shout out to Julie Donuts for bringing this to us. And she got it from 17Q The Storm. Indictments are coming. Enjoy this one, folks. If there's anything you don't pay attention to, or you pay attention to the rest of the night, give this clip your undivided attention.
Fox News alert, the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the legitimacy of an election.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's been locked away in a CIA vault for almost a decade. Investigators spent over 2,000 hours looking into how the Russia hoax was born, interviewing 20 CIA and FBI officials. And it turns out that the Obama administration doctored the intelligence to make it look like Putin and Trump stole the election. A month after Trump beat Hillary, Barack Obama wasn't satisfied with his intelligence reporting and ordered his CIA director to create a new assessment of how Russia interfered with the election. This was a highly unusual move. John Brennan handpicked 5 CIA analysts to write the assessment, and they were siloed. None of them knew what the other was doing. And only one analyst was in charge of drafting this report. There was nothing routine about this, and it was a rush job to publish before Trump was sworn in. Nothing was coordinated with the other intelligence agencies either. Basically, this was home cooking for Barack Obama. There were 4 key elements from the assessment that were repeated over and over again and formed the basis of the Russia hoax and the Robert Mueller witch hunt. 1, that Vladimir Putin wanted Donald Trump to win. 2, Putin took action to help Trump win. 3, the Russians had blackmail on Trump. That was the Steele dossier. And 4, that the Russians tried colluding with the Trump campaign. None of any of this was ever true. There was no reliable intelligence to support any of these allegations. Senior CIA officials repeatedly refused to traffic in these allegations, but they were repeatedly overruled by CIA Director Brennan and FBI Director Comey, who insisted that they be pushed, even without verifiable evidence. The Obama administration cherry-picked the intelligence, lied about their sources, misquoted sources, didn't corroborate their claims, suppressed intelligence that ran counter to their narratives, and even used anonymous internet postings. Rank and file CIA admitted what they were doing violated their own tradecraft standards. There was a massive pressure campaign that came right from the top. CIA analysts say they received unusual directives from political appointees, the CIA director, and Obama himself. This is how the Russia hoax was born.
Donald Trump knows that the Russians helped him win in 2016.
Putin hated Secretary Clinton so much that the flip side of that coin was he had a clear preference for the person running against the person he hated so much.
It was Russia in a very systematic way tried to interfere in the election and to try to advance the prospects of Donald Trump being elected.
This was such a malicious disinformation campaign perpetrated on the American people that at one point, 60% of Democrats believed the Russians hacked our voting machines to help Trump win the White House. What this report actually shows is that the Russians just wanted to create chaos and undermine Americans' faith in democracy. Solid intelligence suggested that Vladimir Putin didn't care who won. He had no preference. But like most people, expected Hillary to win and had a little docket of compromising dirt on her, dirt that he never released. Now, if Putin wanted Trump to win, why didn't Putin drop the dirt?
There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump.
Now, if Clinton was on tranquilizers like the Russians believed, why didn't they leak it to help Trump win?
How credible was the information about Hillary Clinton's power?
All I have seen is what the Intelligence Committee have reported through their investigation. I think the underlying point there is that we understand from intelligence what Russia said that they had. And the important point here is that if they were trying to influence the election, as President Obama and James Clapper and John Brennan, everybody said they were doing in order to support Donald Trump's election, they would have released the most damning of that information.
Obama and his spy chiefs knew that Putin didn't prefer Trump over Hillary, but they cooked the intelligence to make it look like he did. Obama and his intel spies knew that Putin didn't collude with Trump and that he didn't even direct his people to help Trump win. But they put it out there anyway. In a sense, Barack Obama did exactly what Putin wanted, undermined Americans' faith in free and fair elections and caused chaos in our country. Barack Obama, the CIA, and the FBI were the ones doing what our enemy wanted.
Do you believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former President Obama?
Correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Even 2 years later, after the election, Barack Obama was still pushing a hoax he knew wasn't true. And he knew it wasn't true because he helped manufacture it.
They're undermining our alliances, cozying up to Russia. What happened to the Republican Party? They're cozying up to the former head of the KGB. Actively blocking legislation that would defend our elections from Russian attack. What happened?
Now, I don't know if it's possible to indict a former president for actions he took while in office. I'm not a lawyer, proudly. But Brennan, Comey, and others may have severe liability. Trey Gowdy says we know for a fact that Brennan committed perjury when he lied to Congress.
Director Brennan, do you know who commissioned the Steele dossier?
I don't.
You know if the Bureau ever relied on the Steele dossier as part of any court filings, applications?
I have no awareness.
Did the CIA rely on it?
No.
Why not?
Because we didn't. It wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence information that we had. It was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community assessment that was done. It was not.
Well, that's a lie. Whatever happens to these guys is not revenge. It's accountability. And it's time for people to pay the price.
I think it's safe to assume, folks, that it's not just indictments that are coming, but we're going to see convictions. Indictments are great for the conversation. They're great for the vindication. They're great for the I told you so. They're great for allowing us to call people panicans. But the ultimate resolution is a plea. We want a conviction, right? Or them to plea so we can get other people, right, to work with our DOJ. And I think if you listen to this, and I know some of this stuff was old, but it's a conversation. There's so much in the news feed that stuff that would have been headlined for months, we just forget about it. And this is one. And this is one that we can't forget about. So from there, let's now transition into the fun part of the show that you guys like. And I'll try to go through this as fast as I can because I am keeping my eye on the clock for DEF CON tonight. And let's start here. I believe I used this as our teaser video, I think last week, maybe even yesterday. Julie Duns puts out President Trump's posts. Truly the greatest president in the history of ever. Thank you, sir. We love you. And he posted this one on July 15th, the evening before he did the Address the Nation. Now, if I remember correctly, he did that the math wouldn't math the way I was thinking, because I was using my West Coast time, because West Coast time would have been 17 hours. But actually, it doesn't add to that when you look at East Coast time. But again, let's take a look at the clip that the president thought was important for all of us to watch. It's only about a minute.
Chances that would make a less daring man shudder.
To think about the arc of where he's been in, it's like some sort of mythical story or something.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me.
Donald Trump seems to always get stronger when challenged.
My God, that guy's got resilience.
Those who deal with you underestimate you and live to regret it.
It's always good to be underestimated. It is not about politics. It's about our love for this great country, America, and we're not going to let it fail. I will fight like no one has ever fought before.
Trump is the bodyguard of Western civilization.
You want to talk about a fighter, a walk through fire? He's an absolute savage.
He knows that this is much bigger than him. This is about the American people. They have no idea what they have unleashed. He was ready to go face the cameras and come out swinging.
What will future Americans say we did in our brief time here on Earth? It will be defined by your vision, your perseverance, and your grit. Nothing will sway us, nothing will slow us, and no one will ever stop us. We are Americans. Ambition is our heritage. Greatness is our birthright, and the future belongs to us.
I like that. I love the one fun part about playing video clips, it allows me to rapid read through the chat just so I don't lose my train of thought on the show and catch some of the stuff you put on there. J Law Bronco says, using Navy math, J Law Bronco, does come out to about 21 hours. And again, 21 is my favorite number. So that's always solid. Department of War, on the day following Trump's address to the nation, puts out checkmate, period. And of course, there you see the soldier playing chess. The Department of War is projecting nearly $250 billion in savings over the next 5 years by cutting bureaucratic excess, eliminating redundant programs, and reforming bloated contracts. But of course, our attention is going to go to checkmate, period. And if you go to post 523, January 13th of 2018, checkmate, period. I believe there's 3 posts total that populate the word checkmate, but there's only one that populates checkmate with that period. And again, it's a January 13th date. So is it telling us maybe there's something coming up this January, or is it just telling us, hey, again, we're just showing you guys that we're still here and we're still chatting with y'all? I'll let you guys decide that for yourself. But again, nonetheless, it's at least very fun to come across. Gateway Pundit puts out, just in, the White House officials asked to turn over phones in investigation to Air Force One security leak. Link in the comments section. Now, if you remember when me and CanCon were talking about this, or I think it was me and Josh, I don't remember which show I did with them first. The first thing that I said is there's going to be different news stories that break, and that is going to be an indicator of leak operations. And again, if you guys remember, everybody called me crazy a few weeks ago when I said, folks, our DOJ and military intelligence are collaborating in leak operations. And the following day, Secretary Hegseth comes out and says, the DOJ and military intelligence are conducting leak operations. And I was just like, love you guys. Thank you. But here's the thing. They're not trying to vindicate me. They're trying to get you guys to understand that this is what's in play, because I'm just a dude, right? But it's the information. It's the headline that matters. And in this case, these leak operations are important. Why? Because the one thing that you and me and all of us want, the indictments, the convictions, the mass arrests, in order for that to happen at the magnitude that we want to see it happen, you have to have complete, utter control of operational security, OPSEC, right? Anyone in the military, anyone that's been in law enforcement, you know what I'm talking about. And since we know that they're, according to Brennan himself, that the legion still exists in different elements of our government, then these people have to be found, located, and removed. And that's why I've known that these leak operations were always going to be in play. We saw different phases of this. We saw when Director Cash and at the time Assistant Deputy Director Bongino said, hey, we're moving from that FBI office into this FBI office for the safety of our agents. What do you think that was? It was understanding that things have been compromised to keep tabs on this president. Why do you think we're seeing combat operations being run out of South CENTCOM or Mar-a-Lago and not out of the White House? Because they know, folks. And again, it's my speculation, given off some of the stuff that's been shared with Josh, some of the stuff that's shared with me. I don't think there was ever an issue with Air Force One, the new one. I think that this was something that was put in play purposefully. Because again, this is something, and this here's my theory, so just hear me out on why. If they would have discovered a weapons or defense malfunction with the plane while it was back on American soil, they would have did the switch right there to the old Air Force One. So that means if you believe the story as it's reported, that this was something that was discovered while they were midway over the pond. And this is when the call goes to the old Air Force One to start heading on this way. Well, why does that matter? I would imagine that the ability to communicate outside of this airplane through the press or anybody else is very limited, or at the minimum, every single piece of data is monitored. So if on this plane there was a look to see who in the media is leaking something, or who, as far as the staff or administrators leak something, this was a way to find it, because this was something that developed mid-flight. And if that's the case, again, leak operations. And I thought this one was significant, and I wanted to make sure we covered it. I think it was daily that we covered it on, but I wanted to make sure you guys at least got my theory on that. Let's keep going. FBI Director Kash Patel, the FBI will find everyone that has committed fraud against the American people. Don't just think of fraud as money, folks. Don't just think of as fraud as resources. But if there are people who took jobs and lied about resumes, if there are people who got into positions in order to extract information to give it to foreign adversaries or other intelligence apparatuses, that is also fraud. They entered into that office through fraud. So again, just don't think money. Let's keep going. This is a good one. The Rubber Duck puts out, our 2018 DNI sleeper is now CIA director. Buckle up. Some interesting stuff that we can take a look here. If we go to post 4792, this is one that has the full name John Ratcliffe, correct spelling. And it says right here, keywords, John Ratcliffe, Russia letter, Barr, Lindsey Graham, Committee on Judiciary. Pretty interesting that all these things are in play right now, especially given the passing of Lindsey Graham. Maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing, but it's still worth mentioning. But let's keep going because we're not done there. When you go and you type in Ratcliffe, you also populate this post that was tied to another post, but I wanted to bring it to this one specifically. Future marker, July 29th. Now, you guys know I hate date fagging, but lately they've been pretty damn accurate. So all I'm going to say is let's all keep our eyes on July 29th with the thing that we've kind of been seeing flow with X, +1 to -1 day. So potentially the 28th, potentially the 30th. But again, future marker on the 29th. Could it be something with Ray, who's the one currently holding Ray's position? Don't let's look at the name, but look at the position. There's a lot of stuff to look here. But again, July 29th, future marker. And I'm curious. I saw E.H. Kyle put, I'll wait for Lindsey's coffin flag. So am I. And I know they postponed his funeral. Wouldn't that be interesting if his funeral lands on July 29th? I haven't checked to see if there's an updated date on there. So if one of you guys has done that or knows, let me know. But again, July 29th, I found as something pretty interesting. The other thing, too, is if we go to, I know one of you guys asked, I think it was on Q After Hours at DEFCON. It was one of the shows. But you guys say, is Ratcliffe good or is Ratcliffe bad? And you guys know my hesitation because CIA, right? But of course, you got to have good guys within the institution in order to take it down or to expose it. So if you're someone that's going to say, hey, the boards are pretty accurate here because we know disinformation is part of the plan. The date on here, July 29th. So that's the one that made me say, son of a bitch. Ratcliffe good. Thank you for confirming. Code's bad. Ratcliffe good. Sleepers present problems regarding staff fills. More coming. So again, let's see. Grit Girl Trisha says it's supposed to be July 20th to the 29th. No shit. No shit. Man. Interesting. That means we'll have to go and we'll have to analyze. And remember that last post that mentioned Lindsey Graham with Ratcliffe and all this. Interesting. All right. Well, we will definitely keep tabs on that. Angel Wick says too, SC on the 29th. All right, folks. We're all got eyes on the 29th. So I'm glad you guys are with me. It is awesome having you. It's like having a bunch of detective partners with you guys. It is so cool. And that's why there's a lot of times where you guys know I'll bring a post and I'll be like, hey, this popped up. I can't make it make sense. It's not fitting any context for me, but you guys let me know. And you guys will immediately that night or the following day, I'll have, a couple dozen emails with people like, hey man, I kind of looked at this and thought at this. And every now and then I'm like, hey, I think one of you found something. Like, I think there's something here. So it's awesome having all these extra 1,000 pairs of eyes and all these extra brains. I think we make a great team. This one's from July 28th, 3529. While Congress is away, the month of August is traditionally a really hot month. Nature is unpredictable. Now, the last one I don't really like. And of course, we see the fires popping off in Canada. We saw the big earthquake that happened in Venezuela. Do we see them weaponizing weather warfare? I don't think so. And let me tell you why. How many hurricanes have hit Florida since Trump's been in office? I think he said, nah, bro, y'all using that while I'm president. And go look how many hurricanes hit while Biden was the president. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe there's a there. But again, the part here is August is traditionally a really hot month. And again, to bring it back to the Save America Act, we are going to enter that first week deadline. So again, by the time we hit August the 6th, if that Save America Act does not pass, it's dead. Like there's no time left to deploy it legally. So we're going to see how hot August gets. Let's go to this one. Dan Scavino. 77 former DOJ officials urge Senate to confirm Todd Blanche as Attorney General. Again, if you're looking at the time there, 6:07, that's my time, West Coast. This would be 9:07 a.m. But let's just take a look at 77. This is one of those ones I didn't find anything. Maybe you guys will. Post 77 comes to November 5th, 2017. It's a long one. I'm not going to read it because we've covered this one so many times. Follow Huma, who connects HRC to CFC. But let's just come down here. Why did Barack Obama send billions in cash to Iran? Again, we have some stuff popping off with Iran right now. Again, why was this classified under state secrets? And again, we're getting a lot of things declassified, especially with Trump's address to the nation. We'll see. But again, this is something you could make apply anytime, regardless of posts. So I still wouldn't say that that's context. But again, maybe you guys will find something that I didn't. But I do want to take it to 9:07 because that is the time that's posted. And again, March 10th, 2018, it's been corrected. Donald J. Trump, verified account. And then here's the part. China continues to be helpful. The reason I highlighted this part, 1111Q, make a wish. The reason I highlighted this part is, again, immediately following Trump addressing the nation, you heard one of the things that I brought to Josh's attention, and Josh agreed with me. And we talked about this even in private and kind of went a little deeper into it. And what I'll say is we're both on the same page when it comes to this. Trump was very strategic about how he referenced China, the PRC, the CCP, the exploitation election unit that they had. He didn't put the onus on Xi. And again, you guys know I do subscribe to the Sovereign Alliance. I do separate Xi from the CCP, Xi being China, the CCP being the deep state, cabal, international crime syndicate, whatever you want to call it, two different ones. And again, my theory is, hey, what if we see Xi come forward and provide this information saying, hey, here's the people that were working with these guys from your country. China continues to be helpful. I definitely see some context to this one. Let's keep going because we are really pushing it on time. Department of War CTO, failure is not an option. It never is. No distractions. Stay locked in, Patriot. Stay locked in. Again, 11:02 my time. So if we go to military time, it would take us to 2:02 or 14:02. And that brings us to this one. March 17, 2018, because I know some of you guys like the dates. Breitbart article that's there. God bless the United States of America. D5. You guys have heard Josh explain that one. I won't try to do it because I won't do it as good as him. What happened? What had to happen first? Now, this is really important, right? I'm not going to spend too much time here again because I'm watching the clock. But what had to happen first? I've been seeing a lot of people, and these are the doomers, these are the black pillars that have come out and said, oh, Trump addressed the nation. How many arrests have there been? One, I think we've shown that there's been a ton of arrests. But two, you have to have the court of public opinion on your side. You have to have American citizens. You have to have that large demographic of normies that will have an indictment against the people you're going to come after. That has to happen first. Remember, you can't tell them. You have to show them. Sometimes they got to live the experience. And that is what's been happening. So what had to happen first with regards to the context of the time period we're in right now? Trump just pushed that first domino. It's no longer conspiracy about what has happened to the 2020 election, the 2022 election, the 2024 election, and elections prior to that. He came out and said they've been doing it for years. He articulated it in a way that was enough to confirm it without getting too far into the details and the nuances of things, because that's our job, right? Until he does the next meeting where he's going to provide more information. We know that's coming according to John Solomon. But again, this is what had to happen first. Think logically, think DOJ and FBI, think cleaning, number 64, puzzle coming together. And again, as we prepare to land, please fasten your seatbelt and make sure your seat back and folding trays are in their upright position. I think we're taking off. I don't think we're landing, but you get the point that they're trying to make. And then again, 64. And the only reason I went from this one is we go through here, and I know a lot of times we reference the list of names, but something on this one told me, well, let's just go check out post 64 on this one just to see, right? Should the lights go out, please know we are in control. Do not panic. And when I read that, I said, well, son of a bitch, because we just had General Flynn video that resurfaced again on the conversation that happened with him on Tim Pool's show back in September of 24, talking about the EBS. This is the one we played last night. So there we are. Again, it's my assessment and it's my opinion. I don't think we're going to see a blackout of communications. That's just me. I know some people think that that's coming. I think things are already in play. I think it's going to look a different way, but to each their own. The point being here is do not panic. We are in control. Ham radio. That's the video I'm talking about, J-Law. Let's keep going. This one, they're so cool with their memes, right? Department of War CTO. This is your final chance to Patriot Max. Engineers, are you ready? Last day to apply for Warforce. And this was the 17th. And the reason that this was kind of important, especially early last week, is because there was a lot of deadlines for the 17th, especially for these ads. And again, the FBI agents, the 250 some, 60 some of them were down in Fulton County, Georgia, to review and go over the evidence or I won't say evidence, the information that they were collecting. That also had a self-imposed deadline of the 17th. So it wasn't a legal deadline. It wasn't something imposed by the courts. This was a self-imposed deadline. I'm assuming that came from President Trump. So all these deadlines with the 17th, was it a kind of just a hat tip to us because of the relevance of that date to us? Was it because there's an operation in play and Trump addressing the nation on the 16th meant that he wanted everything by that day? I mean, all these things are possible, but nonetheless, just pay attention to these self-imposed deadlines in the days that they land on. With that, let's continue. Lindsey Graham, skipped a few right here. My apologies. This was at 10:05 my time. So if we go to 1:05 East Coast time, this brings us to November 5th. Please pray. Operators are in harm's way. High risk, high value targets. Please pause and give thanks to those who would die to save our republic. More to follow. I don't see any relevance to that one. So let's check out the military time. If you do, let me know. Y'all know I'm not the gatekeeper of information, nor do I know everything, but I don't see the relevance. But if you do, let me know. 13:05, on the other hand, you're going to like this one. No name out now. And then there's a Twitter link from Lindsey Graham. We love good singers. And if we go to that post from Lindsey Graham, which is dated April 30th of 2018, it says, James Comey, I don't trust him. I think it was part of the effort at the FBI to give Clinton a pass. The way they conducted the investigation was a joke. The thumb was on the scale. The head investigator by the FBI hated Trump like Clinton. Let me play this for you guys. It's only a few seconds.
This whole thing stinks. We should have a special counsel looking at DOJ corruption, looking at how the dossier was given to the court. And finally, the number 4 person at the Department of Justice, Mr. Bruce Orr's wife, worked for Fusion GPS, worked with Michael Steele, who prepared the dossier, and he was Steele's handler. If the shoe were on the other foot, it'd be front page news all over the world.
Again, folks, these ties to Lindsey Graham, given the context that he just passed away, given the ties to Radcliffe and the conversation happening, it just all seems pretty important, especially when it says no name out. Y'all know who they're talking about there, right? And now, this is during the time frame that Lindsey Graham died. I definitely think there's something going on here, and we love good singers. Of course, we know that that means somebody's talking, and I don't think they're referring to Lindsey Graham. I think they're referring to James Comey. I think, if I'm correct in my assessment here, that this is signaling we're going to get a plea from James Comey here in a few weeks, the same way we did with Bolton. And I think that's going to be confirmation that he helped. Now, again, Comey has the ability to delay this well into the next administration. And he hasn't, just like Bolton didn't. So I already believe that they're singing. But I think if I'm correct about the way I'm reading these posts here and these markers, I think we're going to see a plea from Comey here in the next few weeks, if not even sooner than that. So let's stay tuned. Then we get into Dan Scavino comes out. He posts the bombers. This is a 1-minute video. I would play it for you guys, but this one would most definitely get a strike. And I want to make sure we take care of our family over there on YouTube. But nonetheless, it's a minute long, and the timestamp on this one would be 9, 10, 11:51 or 23:51. Let's take a look at 11:51 first. Side-by-side graphic, SS/LL deal drops with original timestamp. POTUS tweet, important going forward. Could there be something there? I don't think so. But this one on the other hand, I want to go to the military time, 23:51. Look here, Russia. Do not look here, China. I find that interesting because we just had a state of an address to the nation by Trump referencing China. But this is saying, look here, Russia. Again, is that taking us to the Russia hoax, which has to deal with the election interference? It could be, but hold on, because you're going to see the title of a video I'm going to bring up right now that you're going to be son of a bitch. Worth 43 minutes of your time. We're not watching the 43 minutes of this. Fake news will never report. Important to understand going forward. Facts matter. Now, the link to this YouTube video, Vice President Mike Pence remarks on the administration's policy towards China. So again, look here, Russia, do not look here, China, but then the video references China. This goes to Vice President's remarks regarding China. And we just had Trump address the nation regarding China. 100% that I think that this thing does have context of what we're talking about right here and what's going on. And then, and yes, we're still doing okay on time. Department of War CTO puts high T Patriots testosterone. If you guys haven't done so already, neutronicsLabs.com/alpha, promo code alpha IGF. Again, that's neutronicsLabs.com/alpha IGF, promo code alpha IGF. If you want to get some of that good testosterone, let me show this on the screen for you guys right there. See that? That's the good stuff I'd be taking. Put that there. Don't want to break the bottles. Modernize the joint force, maximize lethality. Apply today. Couple more times at the gym. We're almost there, folks. We're almost there. Timestamp here, 10:46, 11:46, 12:46, 1:46, or 13:46. So let's take a look at civilian time first. November 12th. Warning, this is not a game. That's going to come to context because we started the show with the video that the White House put out there that says Trump don't play games, and hint to the video that's coming at the end of tonight's show. But again, warning, this is not a game. Direct attack today by the New York Times clowns in America. Do you believe in coincidences? I believe we don't. How many coincidences do you need before you believe? I think we've all surpassed that. This is the biggest insider drop in the history of the world. Pray. And when we go to the military time, May 12th, this one brings us to digest. Next, what CEOs have resigned post-POTUS election? Cross-check CEOs in Iran's post-deal. you have more than you know. So again, I would look starting, this post came from July 16th. So if you guys want to, what I would suggest here, if you want to dig into this one, look for any CEO that resigned after July 16th. And especially if you want to look at ones tied to the Iran deal. Now, one that's not a CEO, but still it's an important resignation that happened in the window of this post is Trump's director of artificial intelligence. One of the chiefs over there ended up retiring. As a matter of fact, I believe Eagle Ed Martin even posted about it. So I found that one interesting. Again, not a CEO, but as a resignation that came post this when all this happened. So maybe there's something there. Maybe there's not. You guys can let me know what you think. Then we get Department of War CTO. Why do they call this guy Chad? Like, I hear people saying that all the time. I'm like, I don't get it. Am I that old that I don't get the hip stuff no more? So if one of you wants to enlighten me to why they call this guy a Chad, I'd be interested. But seeking forward deployed patriots, and again, plan trusting engineers apply by July 17th. Calling all patriots, join the war force. Now, you guys know me. I'm not a big fan of the red blocks and the lines. However, I would say I do feel like this one, the Patriot Alarm, is a little shout out to the people that do that. So if you are someone that does the boxes and does the lines, keep doing it. Looks like at a minimum, they're encouraging it, or maybe they just want to say the Patriot Alarm and Washington's got his hand on the handle. Again, this one comes to 11:29 and we go to East Coast time, April 11th. I don't see it. One's talking about Pompeo. The other one is talking about Pompeo fails. Let me bring up I thought I had the article for you guys on this one. We don't. But again, I didn't see any relevance to it. You guys can let me know if you do. Department of War CTO I try to get all these because we know that there's stuff to it. And I'm trying to find the ones that may potentially have context. Keep trusting, stay focused, carry on, Patriots. This one, we're going to cover the timestamp on it, but more focus to me was the keep trusting, stay focused. A lot of black pillars, a lot of doomers. And this administration, folks, has been trying to show you over and over and over that they're doing the right thing, that they are fighting for us, and that we are fighting with them. We are not just sitting on the couch, static, doing nothing. We are involved with this. But folks, keep trusting, stay focused. Now, before I say trust the plan, you guys know my caveat. Got to know what the plan is if you're going to trust it. If you don't know what it is, then you can't trust it. And if you don't know what it is, then you can't shit on it either. So invest some time. I did my huge mini book out there on my assessment on what is the plan. But you don't have to take my assessment of it, although I think it's pretty accurate given the phases have been lining up almost precisely as I described it. Better a Chad than Jody. Okay, I'm going to have to go back and read this. It looks like J-Law says Chad equals stud equals alpha. Chad equals stud? That's interesting. I didn't think of Chad as like a stud name. Man, maybe, we got Chad Caton. I know that dude's a stud. A squirrel, right? You guys know how to distract me. But again, to the point I'm trying to say is keep trusting, stay focused. Also, when you get in combat, when you're getting ready to get for a battle, or getting ready to go to war, they're going to try to get your morale up because morale is a weapon. But they're also going to try to make sure that you understand what you're going into and that you're focused so that you're not sloppy, so that you're not lazy, so you're not complacent. And given August being routinely a hot month, given the potential for the Save America Act to unfold in that first week of August, however that looks, I would say this is definitely a signal for us to be, hey, celebrate the wins, be happy, America as much as you can, but don't get complacent. Stay focused. All right, let's keep going because I'll keep talking. And again, the timestamp on this one, which is this week that we're in now, if I am correct, right? Because this was the 17th. Yes. So we're now in the week that this was referencing. And then we got boom, boom, boom. So you guys can let me know if there's been any booms. We have been dropping some booms on Iran. Is that what this is referring to? Or is there something else coming? Because again, John Solomon said there's more coming. We will see. A couple more. We're not even halfway through the week yet. So we'll see. That brings us to Trust. And Trump says, holy shizzles, a trap is set. What's he talking about? Obama can now be summoned before a grand jury, but he cannot plead the fifth because he has immunity from prosecution. He has to tell the truth. If he lies as a private citizen about what he did as president, he will not longer have that immunity. And that is the trap that Obama is potentially facing. This is solid. The irony is that on January 5th, 2015, Obama presided over a meeting in the White House where the FBI just cleared General Michael Flynn of any wrongdoing, and they schemed in that meeting on how they would jam up General Flynn. That's when they came up with the idea to lure him into an interview, catch him in a lie, and then prosecute him that way. Barack Obama now is about to face a similar situation. Boomerang. Follow Trust in Trump 47. The next drop will be shocking. And I'm not going to play the video because essentially what I just read is exactly what John Solomon says in that. So, was a trap set? I don't know. You let me know in the comments. I'll tell you right now. Hell yeah, I think it was. So you can let me know if you agree or you don't. This one's pretty interesting. Dan Scavino, he drops 5 X's. And then, of course, boom, there's the strike. So we got 5 strikes that he talks about in this video. The timestamp on this one is 10:53 or 22:53, and the video length is 12 seconds. So if we go to 10:53 on the civilian time, it brings us to April 6th. That didn't take long. Border state coincidence. I don't see anything here. And then if we go to 22:53 for the military time, this one's September 21st of 2018. This one could definitely, maybe, because you're getting the declassifier will initiate the resignation, recusal, and a removal of Rod Rosenstein. If we come down here, step 1, read the first sentence regarding Rod Rosenstein. Step 2, read the New York Times article regarding where the wire, wire conversations. We know that happened in Newsom over here in Cali. Is it happening in other places? I would say absolutely it is. But again, FISA declass will bring down the House. And we know that Trump said, or was it Scavino? One of them posted a few days ago after the FIFA World Cup during the song, what's his name? Cristiano or whatever, the Nessa Dorma singer, said, brought down the House. I don't know. I don't know. We go here and we look July 17th and then that. Maybe. I'll say a maybe on that one. And then this one, as we bring it to the end, folks, and yes, we'll have a little bit of time between the two shows. Ivanka Trump puts out there, and again, my personal opinion, I don't think she's read in, but people could be telling her what to post or when to post. She puts out a 10-second video. It says, incoming, FIFA World Cup, FIFA.com. Those are the hashtags. Now, the interesting part of this right here is, I'm not going to play it because it's just the ambient sound from the airplane. I think Trump says, wow, or something like that. But look at it. Just tell me, let me just play it because I don't want to feed your minds. I want to see if you guys catch it on your own. So he's looking out the window. They fly over the World Cup. Again, so if you didn't catch it, he's in the dark. And then from the dark, he goes to the light. Could it be? Could it not? I don't know. You tell me. It's the first thing that came to my mind. But when we look at the timestamps on this one, because again, 12:50 my time, so don't be confused when you look at that. It would be 3:50 East Coast time, December 14th, 2017. Shall we play a game? As they're flying over the World Cup. Yep. Mary Mildred says dark to light. 2F17 says dark to light. Y'all did catch it. See, I knew you guys were going to see what I saw. So I'm glad you guys picked up on that. But again, the timestamp on this brings us to shall we play a game? And this is from a video where he's flying over a game, the World Cup. So that tells me that this is confirmation that this post is important. Find the context here. And again, find the spiders and build the web, the map. Remember, they consider you to be the fly. Remember, they never thought she was going to lose. Therefore, they never thought investigators and her public interest into the criminal acts would be exposed, investigated. Therefore, they never thought they had anything to fear. Therefore, they openly showcased their symbolism. Therefore, they were sloppy. Hussein's last speech in Chicago regarding scandal-free, why did he continually emphasize that phrase? As a backup, they infiltrated and controlled the narrative, the mainstream media. As a backup, they install only those on the team. As a backup, they blackmail those that aren't. As a backup, they define conspiracy as crazy, mentally unstable, and label anything true as such. And again, if you remember the interview that VP JD Vance just did a few days ago, where he was talking about Bondi, Pam Bondi. We talked about that last night, I believe. What does he say? I'm the OG conspiracy theorist. So bringing legitimacy back to the term conspiracy theorist that we know the CIA was trying to repurpose that, right? Or actually purpose it because they're the ones that came up with it. The fix has always been in, but I mean, here it is, folks, but I wanted to bring it down to, it's one of the last sentences here. Here we go. Federal Reserve, everyone is connected. How about a nice game of chess? Now, remember, we started this segment with the Department of War showing the soldier playing chess, and it says checkmate, period, right? We started the show with the clip that the White House says Trump doesn't play games, right? And now we're here, him flying over a game where he goes from dark to light. The timestamp on this definitely correlates to the very first sentence in this post. And then we bring it to the Federal Reserve. Everyone is connected, and we see the conversations happening with the Federal Reserve and the IRS right now. I don't know. I definitely find it. And then, of course, we close it with, how about a nice game of chess? If we go to the military time, you know, I don't know. You got Amanda Renteria, bridge between Loretta Lynch and Hillary Clinton. I don't see it. I think the one that we just covered was the one that was the correct, the civilian time. Which then brings us to this, just immediately following that. And this comes from today that the department posted this, July 21st at 10:39 a.m. East Coast time. Games, unlimited games, no games, no games. I mean, what do you want to make out of it? Let's check out the stamp on this. Here we go. Now, here's what's interesting. 10:39. We don't have time to read this entire article, so I'm going to drop this article in the chat for you guys because I think you will interested. It's an old one. Some of you will remember it, but check out the headline. The conspiracy theory that says Trump is a genius. Again, tied to the very post we just finished reading about conspiracy no more. And now we're at this post, which brings us to this link on the military timestamp. I mean, before we even got here, the post leading up to her, how many times does something have to happen before you believe it's statistically impossible to be a coincidence, right? So you're going to write this off that it's a statistic, that it's coincidental? I think not. And again, we don't have time to read through this right here, but I'll just read you the first paragraph, and maybe that'll hook you, because I definitely would say you should read it if you never read it before. Last week, Roseanne Barr, who, with the hit reboot of her show, has become one of the most prominent Donald Trump supporters in the country, tweeted that president has freed hundreds of children a month from sexual bondage. He has broken up trafficking rings in high places elsewhere, she wrote. The tweet has since been deleted. Barr's tweet, puzzling to the casual observer, was a reference to QAnon, an expansive, complicated pro-Trump conspiracy theory. The theory is fascinating as an artifact of our current political derangement, but more than that, it's profoundly revealing about the lengths to which some Trump supporters will go to convince themselves that his presidency is going well. Now, with that, as we get to bring this show to a close here, folks, I want to ask yourself, what's more important to you? Elections? Or what we learn through Q about what the deep state has been doing with children and to children? I think hands down, as important as our elections are, I don't think there's anybody that would argue that it's not the kids. So what conspiracy would be first? What would be more important? Remember, how do you start? What do you got to do first? Remember that post that we talked about 20, 30 minutes ago? If you want to make sure people believe the atrocities that are going to be D-class when it comes to things like pizza, you know what, and frazzle, you know what, people first have to see that other conspiracies, significant conspiracies, were proven true. The elections are going to be that, folks. The elections being proven to be stolen is what's going to bring the beginning of unity to Americans. On top of that, that's also going to allow us to take back control of our elections, which is going to allow us to put people into positions of power that are going to allow Trump to fulfill his agenda, which is the mandate of the people. With all that in place, now you have the perfect storm to declass the true nightmare that has been going on. And so again, folks, I'll drop this link in the comments because it'll disappear from the chat. So I'll drop it in the comments for you guys so you can go and read it. Again, it's an old one. It's from 2018, but it's worth the read. And then that brings us to this one. Also came from today, July 21st. In case you missed it, Patriots are in control, and that came from the U.S. Department of Education. Patriotic summer. It absolutely has been. Alpha went and did a thing. And I'll probably be posting it on one of the shows later this week. But I did a thing. It's kind of cool, and I'm kind of happy, and I think I deserved it. And I'll share that with you guys. Again, stay tuned for later this week. And again, to close out the show, folks, I'm going to get the Rumble rants. I'll check out the super chats. Then I'll do a quick prayer, and then we're going to close out with the video from Dutch 417 that Trump posted. Again, this is a video from, I think, last year, 2025 or 2024 will be how we do that. So first, let's pull this off. Let's go full screen with me. Again, remember, awspecial.com if you want to give yourself some of that Unimate, and then make sure you pair that up with the balance. So you have the ultimate thing to pair with your mushroom supplements and everything else. We got $5 coming in from Illinois' Danny. Just Alpha is on fire. $5 challenge. Anyone. Thank you for that, Illinois Danny. We got $2 coming in from Emerald Dragon 1333. Alpha, what's good, brother? What's good? Family, life. That's what's good. And God. And then another $2 from Emerald Dragon 1333. July 29th is also a full moon. Oh, shit, folks. What day of the week is that? Hold on. Let me look. July 29th. What day of the week is that? See if we're doing a show. Wednesday. So that's Operation Gladio night. And I think we'll be doing our first Q&A that night, too. So we'll have a chance to talk about it. So we got that covered. Let's see if any super chats came in. And holy shit. God, you guys went nuts on YouTube. God. Oh, virtual hugs. Jesus. YouTube's on fire, Rumble. You gotta love them. Sora 47, 400 gems. Eagle. It's all I got. It's the best I got for an eagle. Cat Lover 3720, 440 gems. UNC alert. What does that UNC stand for? You have to school me on that one, Cat Lover. Kathy LaBelle 777, 10 gems. Gold coin. Fling. Wish I had one of those. That'd be nice. Let's see. Soar 47, 100 gems. High five. Pow. I got you with that one. Let's see who else we got in here. Alaska Life 17, $10. Anyone that hunts with a 30-06 knows that's not the same sound on the video. 30-06 barks when shot, not saying Tyler Robinson wasn't there, but hard for me to believe he's the only culprit. Well, there's a little bit more to that too, Alaska, because you're going to deal with rifling in the muzzle. You're going to deal with the length of the muzzle. You're going to deal with the round. You're going to deal with the grainage that it has on there. You're also looking at what was the backblast area. I know backblast doesn't matter to rifles, but for echo and sound, it does. It's also higher elevation. You're looking at temperature. So again, not going to go into all the sciences of it, but there's also the sound of hearing a rifle when there's nothing between you and that round, breaking through the wind, and then you being behind a rifle when you fire that shot. But also if you make the argument too of, well, I've been out there hunting while people have fired stuff. Yeah, but there's typically going to be trees and other things that are there that are also going to change up the sound. So there's just a lot of factors to it with that. And again, all weapon systems are a little bit different too. But I'm tracking what you're saying, Alaska, and jealous because what a cool place to live. Let's see. Karen Landowns, 9079, 400 gems, Eagle. I shouldn't have done that because now you guys are going to have an expectation to me to do that. Somebody's going to clip it and turn it into some crazy AI. That's okay. Love you anyways. Benton 72, 10 gems, gold coin. Thank you for that, brother. Let's see. Brian Barra, 7475, 200 gems, flow state. I like that. Marcy Buck. Let me bring this up on the screen so you guys see it. Marcy Buck, 3829, 2 gems, sparkles. Sparkles. That's kind of gay. And then the last one over here on YouTube, Angie MC87, who became a member of the AlphaWarrior family over there. Welcome to the family. There's a poll over there on YouTube. I'm trying to get a time down. So let me know what you guys think when you have a chance. Go vote in that, Angie, because I put it there for all the subscribers. Actually, I might have made it public. I don't know. And then we got a last one that came in. $5, J-Law Bronco. Sorry for the disruptions. There's always one in class, folks. There's always one in class. And tonight, it was J-Law Bronco. No, J-Law, you gave me some good back and forth tonight, and I think it was something that the audience enjoyed. So with that, let's close in prayer. We have the exit video, and then I'll see you in about 20 minutes over there on DEF CON, folks. Father, thank you for another day of life. Thank you for my missus. Thank you for my girls. Thank you for my son. Father, I ask that you be with my mom and help her with what she's going through. I ask that you help her with the sale of her home, that you help my aunt who's with her. Father, I ask that you just put your healing hands around my mom. Father, I also ask that you put your hands around everyone's mom out there and any concerns that they have. Father, watch over the children. Father, this war is far from over, but whom shall we fear when you are with us? Father, help us to remember that our fear comes from us wanting to have control over something that we should surrender to you. So help us to remind ourselves that we are not in control, that we're here to facilitate your mission, not ours. And we pray and we ask all this in your son, Jesus' name. Amen. Folks, Just Alpha 2.0. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember, tomorrow I'm going to be up at the crack of dawn for Badlands Daily with CanCon. I won't be on Thursday morning. Switched it up with Ghost. And then later on in the afternoon, we have a special show. It's going to be premium content. For those who are there, I'll have about 2 or 3 premium shows as we bring this month to a close. And if you haven't done it, again, neutronicslabs.com/alpha-IGF, awsspecial.com, or again, AlphaWarrior247.com or AlphaPets247. All those links to my partner sponsors and affiliates down in the description. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Smash the heart, hit the comment, hit the thumb, leave a comment, share this out. Good night. God bless, and Semper Fi.